It is good to be back on Die on this Hill. Ready to talk some more sports, talk some more everything. Prop bets, Taylor Swift, Dad Bods, got it all. Got my buddy Erich Pfeiffer here with me today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing better
Happy to be back.
after our rough start. Yeah, I'm happy to be back for the third time tonight. But I don't know. What do you think? Jumping right into it, going off of the theme of this show here: Taylor Swift, Dad Bods, fourth downs, and prop bets. Let's start right off the top with some Taylor Swift. Let's start with this Kansas City, Baltimore Ravens game. I want to know your thoughts, your opinions. Hit me with it.
Well, so, I walked into work the next day and, like, as a joke, I said, yeah, NFL wanted the Swifties in the Super Bowl. So that's what happened. But, a lot of people were complaining about the officiating in the game and everything. And I do agree to an extent that there was a little extra downfield contact, maybe on the Kansas City secondary. You had Gene Steratore come in a couple times and say that should have been a flag, a foul. But I also don't think that it ultimately decided the game. I think the same thing I thought about the Bills. They lost to the Chiefs. Same thing with the Ravens. The Chiefs came out and played a great football game. Don't get me wrong, but they left a lot on the table. I felt like Lamar missed some throws. If you're going to make a deep playoff run, if you're going to make it to the Super Bowl, your quarterback needs to be able to make all the throws. Or at least most of the throws need to be on point. Like, you think back as Giants fans, right? Like, we think back to that dime, the over-the-shoulder to Manningham against the Niners. Or, I'm sorry, against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, right, in 2011.
Oh, beauty. Beauty.
It was a beautiful pass. It was a beautiful catch just all around.
Yeah, but one of the greatest Super Bowl plays of all time.
Right. Like, a lot of people talk about the helmet catch. That was there was a lot of luck involved. I mean, there was a lot of grit and luck involved in that one. I still think that as far as a football play goes, the more beautiful play was that over-the-shoulder man. They had a chance to do something like that to Odell in the back of the end zone. And Lamar missed the throw, to be honest with you. There was times where, you had Zay Flowers take a taunting penalty at the 3-yard line. And what happened at the end of the half when the one – I forget the name of the Ravens defensive player. He got into Kelsey's face and took a 15-yard personal foul to make their drive extend a little bit towards the end of the half. It's just I feel like once you get into that AFC Championship, NFC Championship, you need to put all that bull stuff, I'll say, aside. And I mean, it's not a family show. We can say bullshit, right? Yeah. You got to put all that aside. And you just need to go out and play football, and you need to leave the extracurriculars at home. You can't be doing that.
But they were out of sorts all game long, in my opinion, because they're a team that was one of the top rushing teams in the NFL. I think they rushed the ball on average. I think it was over 32 times a game. They had 6 carries, I think, before the from the running backs. That's it, total. And then 2 from Zay Flowers and 8 from... They didn't run the ball. When Lamar Jackson is dropping back and throwing the ball 37 times, you're already out of your game. That's not Raven football. That's not what got them there. So why all of a sudden they thought they were this pass-happy team that was going to throw all over Kansas City? Maybe they saw something in film and thought they could exploit it, but it clearly didn't work. I don't know why they didn't stick to their brand of football, because that's what they should have done. If they wanted to win, that's how you win. You take time off the clock, you keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, you run, you use the weapons you have, and, granted, they tried to use Flowers. It worked in some ways, didn't work in others. I just look at this team, and I'm disappointed by Baltimore because they didn't stay true to their own identity, and that's what ultimately killed them. That and the Swifties, let's just be honest.
Right. And they didn't, so the way I look at it is, like, when you go into those games, you need to stick with what got you there, but also be able to have some wrinkles involved, because they're going to game plan for you, right? But you don't need to go completely off your game plan from what you've done all year to get you to that game. And then, like you said, run the ball a handful of times in the first half. I think Chris Jones from the Chiefs didn't even have a tackle that game because they weren't running the ball at him, It just... But then the wrinkles that they didn't put into the game was like, remember, I don't know if you remember before the game, I was saying I was excited to see what the Ravens offense could do with both Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely on the field together. And I think every time Andrews came on, Likely went off, and every time Likely came on, Andrews went off. So those were the wrinkles I was looking for, not for an entire mix-up of what they did to get there. And then,
Combined
so when
4
you go in
catches for
there,
31 yards, though. Still not that good, even between both of them.
right, right. But I wanted to see what it would look like. You establish that run game that you had all year long, and then show me what that looks like through play action, right? Set up your play action, but have those two guys who are versatile in their own ways on the field to add something to your offense. Those are the type of small wrinkles that I was looking for to be able to throw the Kansas City Chiefs off balance, and they didn't do it. They came in with a whole new game plan, and then the most disappointing part of it was they stuck to it in the second half. It's like Jim Harbaugh said, I came in with this game plan, and I'm going to die on this hill. And that's what he did. He died on that hill.
He died on that hill for sure. But, I mean, you flip the script over to Kansas City, you got to tip your hat to Mahomes. What is this, 5 out of 6 years now? I mean, he's just the best. I mean, he's the dad bod. He's what you want as a quarterback, and he just keeps winning, and he keeps winning these games. And this is the first year he's had to do it on the road. He's not only had to do it on the road once now, but twice. He had to beat the 1 and 2 seed on the road. Not easy to do. Coming in as underdogs in both games, but they took it. They took it as a chip on their shoulder. They're the pedigree right now. They're the champs, and you're going to disrespect them? I didn't get that. I get that they didn't have the offseason everybody thought they were going to have. I get they didn't bring in the weapons. People looked at this offense. They said, not Mahomes' best. And a lot of people wrote Kansas City off because of that, but you can't write a champion off because of that. You can't write a Super Bowl head coach like Andy Reid off like that. You can't, these guys, especially, they look like they have a lot of fun winning. They don't seem content. They don't, that was the one thing about Brady is Brady was never content. He never came into the next season just complacent. I won my ring. I'm good this year. No, he came in the next year with the same fire he went in with the year before. And that's why Brady went on to win 7 Super Bowls and go to 10 of them. And you know what? Mahomes is on a trajectory that is pretty damn close to that right now. And he is got to be, I mean, even though you don't think of it, and Lamar Jackson's probably going to win the MVP, if you're starting a franchise today, I don't know if there's a guy out there. You tell me, would you want anybody else out there?
No, they were patient enough to let Rashid Rice figure out the league a little bit. There were some things that I saw that he was doing early on where he, through zone coverage, where he was just dragging routes out a little bit too deep or cutting them too short. He found that middle ground. Like, they allowed that to happen. Honestly, this guy's got the fire. You can see it, Mahomes. It's just every time he goes into a game, he's ready to go. And when it's just the intensity is always there that you don't always see. And we talk about it all the time. Great players make good players better. And that's what he was able to do with the offense. And Travis Kelce had a down year. He had a lot of drops this season, more drops than he's ever had. But then when the playoffs came around, the guy was ready to go. He's a gamer. He's a baller. So all they had to do was get there. And then I think that little bit of doubt,
Jerry Rice type numbers as far as like
he is. And I think that little bit of doubt that people had in them just was an extra chip on their shoulder, like you said. So, and it's just like, it's to keep the Brady comparison going. How many times did the Patriots have a roster where we're like, oh, this isn't going to be the year they do it? Or, you'd see the Colts with Peyton Manning were flying all over the field, scoring touchdowns faster than you could keep track of. And yet still the Patriots would go into the playoffs and beat them. So it's very similar. Except it's just happening at a faster, much more consistent pace than it did with him, with Tom Brady. He played till he was how old to win all those Super Bowls, which is amazing, and he's the GOAT right now. But I think when all said and done, I said that for Dave, when all is said and done with Patrick Mahomes' career, like, he's probably going to take over that position as the greatest quarterback of all time. And this might actually be the fastest turnaround we've ever seen of that title.
Right, it's pretty crazy.
But how many times did those Patriots over those years have those rosters where you're like, oh, they ain't got it this year, but they found a way?
Oh yeah, I mean, how many years they go in?
Great coaching plus great quarterback.
Exactly, and that's why you couldn't count them out. But at the same time, you're like, they don't have the horses. Their defense isn't as good. Oh, Brady doesn't have the weapons, or this, that, and every year they would find another way. And every year, whether it would be, somebody stepping up like a Wes Welker or an Amendola, or them having Moss or Gronk and whoever it was, but they always found that next guy, and it was next man up. And that's the mentality you have to have. And that's the mentality Kansas City, I felt, has taken on, because as they've lost guys like Tyreek Hill, who up through midpoint of this year was mentioned in MVP in conversations. When you lose that type of talent, but yet are still able to then coach up the next and get the next guy up and the next man ready. And like you said, it took a little bit of time for Rashid Rice to get his feet under him. But I think he's going to be a good little piece there for Kansas City, and I think he's going to be used as a pretty good weapon. So I'm looking forward to the future, because, again, I see this team is not going anywhere anytime soon. Even if you told me Travis Kelce would retire tomorrow, I'd say that's a big blow. But I'm going to tell you that Kansas City's still a top 2-3 team in the AFC. And I feel that way as long as you have, like you said, when you have that combination of a leader in Patrick Mahomes, and then you pair him with a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning coach like Andy Reid. I mean, until that pair breaks up, I got to think that they're next man up.
Oh yeah, and we talked about how we're looking for a little bit of wrinkles here and there that's a big X factor with these guys. How many teams have you seen where they can go out, and the Patriots have being one of them, where they have their game plan, but they can go out and throw in a wrinkle of a play they haven't run since week 1 or even last season and have it work to perfection. There's not a lot of teams that can do that. And the reason it happens is because all the players around that quarterback and who play for that coach trust 100% wholeheartedly in what they're trying to do. So they're able to go out when those play calls come in that haven't been run in a pretty long time. Those guys trust in that play call, and that's why the execution is what it is. And that's one big thing that they do, where they can get down around the 5-yard line. They could throw something that you haven't seen on film. I mean, you've had to rewind back 15 weeks to see this play. And if you haven't watched every single play, and that's why Andy Reid's so good, because he's able to throw in these wrinkles, get these guys to run these plays properly. They diagnose what they can do against the opposing defense, and they put the plan in place. And then, honestly, how can we not sit here and say that they have one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time? Now, I know it didn't work out for him as a head coach, but come on, dude.
I mean, listen, the guy's proven it. How many times does he have to keep proving it? He is a great defensive coach.
Doesn't matter who he's playing. He's going to find a way to shut him down, especially in the big game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a few weeks into the season for him to figure out the best way to coach his defense and put them in the best positions, but he always seems to find that equation.
And some guys are better as coordinators than they are head coaches, just honestly, right. And it's not a knock on them, because they're phenomenal coordinators. Some people just don't transition well to head coach. It's just not.
I think we're and not to get off topic, but I think we're going to find that out about Dan Quinn in the next couple years as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's staying with the Cowboys, right?
No, Dan Quinn took the head coaching job with the Washington Commanders.
He took the Commanders job. Wow, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
who just hired a defensive specialist as their head coach when they're probably drafting a franchise quarterback at number 3, a possible franchise quarterback. Because you know me, I've said it multiple times. I'm not sure any of these quarterbacks in this draft are going to pan out. So
I don't think any of them are not as franchise guys. I mean, listen, they may be okay quarterbacks. I don't think any of them are going to be, the level of quarterback, say Mahomes or even a Lamar Jackson. But, some people may think Caleb Williams. Some people may think the kid Daniels out of LSU. Some people may think May. I really don't hear many people talking about Penix or Bo Nix. But those are the 5 guys you're probably going to hear the most about in the draft. And to be honest, I wouldn't touch them. Even the Giants this year, you're already paying Daniel Jones too much money. Do what you could do this season with him and then figure it out in the next offseason. That's where I'm at. And I'm willing to give Dable the leash to do that, not to get us too far off topic here.
Right. And then just to add to it, this draft feels to me like one of those guys nobody's talking about, like a late first to third round quarterback is going to be the guy who starts consistently for a franchise for maybe the next 5 to 7 years and has a decent run of it. It's just the kind of feel I'm getting off going into the offseason.
It's all in where you get drafted.
Right. And
That's
I think
all.
with Dan Quinn at the helm, their best bet is to find the best offensive coordinator they can find. I don't know if that's Eric Bieniemy sticking around, or I don't know if they got rid of him. Find the best offensive coordinator they can find, and maybe bring back Kirk Cousins, or maybe bring in Russell Wilson, and just have yourself a bridge quarterback for his first year as the head coach to try and get them somewhere around 500 or maybe a first round playoff. But I don't think that's going to be very good for Dan Quinn's coaching career if they go 3 and 14.
I agree with you. But again, like we talked about, some people are just better coordinators. And that's, again, where Spags is. Spags is just a better coordinator with KC. And, I'm happy to see them go into another Super Bowl. I mean, if these were my options, me, I took KC last week. And to kind of transition us a bit, one more thing before we go to this Detroit 4th down debacle.
Oh, my God.
I just want to point out, because, I started with it, the Dad Bod. It just goes to show you don't got to be ripped 6-pack man you could just be a good athlete. Not every great athlete has to look like an Adonis, has to look like a Greek god. You know what I mean? And I'm just happy to see Mahomes out there showing that Dad Bod off, showing that, listen, 2 of possible the GOATs of all time were rocking Dad Bods doing it. So, I don't know. Especially if you see, go back to Brady's rookie year or the year he was drafted, and look at his that photo, that draft photo of him with his look at Brady. Come on, stop it. If you looked at that guy, you said 25 years from now you think he's going to be the greatest of all time, you'd say no chance in hell. But the man went on to do it. So
you got to remember, no matter what they may look like in that area, they work harder than anyone in their craft, and that's why they are what they are. Whether not just in the film room, but those guys are constantly out there.
It's not about how much weight you can lift.
No, it's not. It's about they work the muscles they need to work to be able to perform at their position, which is 1, the brain, and 2, their throwing motions and their leg strength and their power. And all that still gets worked. Don't just because we're sitting here talking about, the appearance or whatnot. I have trouble saying the word Dad Bod. That's just fruity to me. I'm not the kind of guy to say it, but
come on, you're rocking one yourself.
Yeah, mine's more of a round figure. There's not a lot of muscle involved in it, but anyway, if I'm gonna, you just got to remember, we're not saying these guys don't work hard, but you like you said, you don't have to be, at least not at the quarterback position. You don't have to be.
But I think that it goes across sports. So I think people have gotten almost too much into the weightlifting strength aspect of things and not enough into the actual craft of it. Because you look at I'm just baseball wise, for example, the Yankees frustrate me every year because they come in and they look like Greek gods. You look at Giancarlo Stanton, came in, he 6'7", built like a brick shit house, and yet falls apart every year. And you're like, how does this guy who works out and could do all this stuff? Since he's gotten to the Yankees, by the way, he used to be able to run he's gotten I think 33% slower since he's come to the Yankees. But anyway, getting way off topic. But either way, it's just athletes in general. You don't have to look like that to be that. Be the greatest.
Hone your craft.
Exactly, hone your craft, and that's what Mahomes does better than anybody else right now. So, transitioning us now over to that Lion game, because I have to know your thoughts and opinions on Dan Campbell, because we talk about it. They are the try-hards. They will give you 110% every time out on the field. They are a team that is hungry. They want it. They've won two. They went on to win their first 2 playoff games. They won at home for the first time in 30 something years. They're doing things that they weren't ever supposed to do in Detroit, and this was going to be their time. They're up. What was it? 24-7 at the half. Up 17 at half. So you have 30 minutes left to play. And you blow it. But I don't blame the players as much as I blame a guy who I really like. No, I'm not calling for his job, but who made a lot of terrible decisions he needs to learn from, because you don't get many opportunities like this. Like the 4th down calls, just a ton of what he was doing in general was just off. And he needed to read the room better. You can't leave 6 points out there. He could have had 6 points on the board. I mean, granted, a 48-yarder isn't exactly a chip shot, but it's something that a competent kicker in the NFL should be able to make more often than not. And the odds to that have to be better than some of these 4th downs. And I know he's the 4th down king. I know that he wants to go for it every time. But, I mean, at what point do you have to check yourself a little bit and be like, you know what? I got to think smarter here. I'd rather the points. I need the points. I need to keep you need to keep climbing the ladder. You can't stay stagnant. That's what they did the week before, and that in the Rams game is they came out and they didn't play as well in the second half. They held on to win, but they didn't play as well in the second half, in my opinion, especially offensively. And it seemed like Campbell took his foot where he was putting it on the pedal on 4th down, but was taking it off the gas everywhere else. And to me, it was just a really, really poorly coached second half of that game. So I want to know where you stand, but that's kind of where I'm at. I think Dan Campbell just really needs to learn from this.
I think though, remember we saw those 2 long 3rd down conversions where you had Jahmyr Gibbs take a off tackle run out of the shotgun for, what was it, like 3rd and 12 at that point, ran it for 13 yards. And, he's confident that his team, but that was in the first half, and he's confident his team can convert. So
well, also too, just to point out, I need to point this out, that the 49ers were very susceptible to the run. And I didn't know this because I know you rattled off a lot of stats for us last week that were phenomenal, but there was one I heard afterwards that got me. The 49ers ranked, I think, 31st in the league when it came to outside runs. And what it seemed like Detroit was doing, especially in the first half, is they were hitting them outside. And they were going bouncing things out and do it. It seemed like a lot more of the run game was focused inside in the second half. Now, I could be wrong, but that's the way it seemed to me, and it seemed like they kept getting bottled. And I was thinking to myself, why aren't they sticking to the game plan? Why aren't they hitting them where they're weakest? Why I don't know. So I'm going to let you go, but I just had to point that out, that the 49ers are very susceptible, which means Pacheco and Mahomes could exploit that next week, or, the big game.
That's where last week, I don't remember me saying, but that's where I felt like they needed to get off the David Montgomery train for this game, and they needed to go with the playmaker and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, right? Like, those are 2 guys that you have to get off balance. The best way to do that is to get your playmaker into space, which is Gibbs. Montgomery, he's your smash mouth guy. He's pounding the rock. I think they did that in the second half because they had that lead. So they felt like, get some time off the clock. Even though with leads prior, they still came out throwing towards the end. I was very respectful I was very impressed, let's say, with the way the Lions, where they had leads in the first 2 playoff games, where most teams would come out and they would try and run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, then try and convert 3rd down. The Lions kept slinging it. So I was very impressed by that. But the one thing with the 49ers going into that game is they were the best team. They were very hard to beat in the middle of the field. So a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown having the yardage that he did is not surprising. But at the same time, the way he did it, he was getting a lot of stuff over the middle. There was a lot of things you were hearing going into that game was that you thought the Niners were going to be able to shut that down. But the biggest thing to me was at the end of the first half, when you're up 21-7, and you're the guy who goes for it on 4th down, and you're on the 3.5 yard line, and you kick a field goal. So that's where, if I'm Dan Campbell, and I've been calling games like he's been calling games all year, I think I'm just not taking 3 there. To me, against an explosive team like the 49ers, 17 and 14 aren't much different. But if you go in up 21 points, you're in a pretty good position going into halftime. And then you don't go for that. So then why is it that when you're towards midfield or just inside midfield, but you're in field goal range and you're at like 4th and 5, why then are you now going for 4th downs when you just, again, I think I texted this to you. We go back to the title of the show. Dan Campbell was willing to die on that 4th down hill, but I think he did it at the wrong times. I feel like, again, at the end of the half, you have a chance to go up 3 touchdowns against San Francisco 49ers. I think that's the time to go for 4th down. I think once you get in the second half and you start bleeding a little bit, you got to take the points. And that's where he was man enough to come out and say that those decisions were poor decisions. In hindsight, it is 2020. But to me, that was in the moment. I'm saying this guy's got to take the 3 here. This guy's got to take the 3 here. And the same thing when they did take the 3 at the end of the half. I'm like, oh, well, they should be going for this one. Like, that's who they are. That's like, so to relate it to hockey, right? Like, the most dangerous time to give up a goal is the first minute or the last minute of a period, because when you go into the locker room, the other team goes into the locker room with momentum. So if you convert that 4th and 3, 4th and goal on from the 3-yard line, if you convert that and you go up, you get a touchdown out of that deal, you're going in with your foot on their throats. When you kick a 3 at that point, and you've just had the drive that you had, that defense is saying, okay, that's a stop for them. They got the stop they needed. So to me, I thought that was poor decision-making on all 3 of those 4th downs. Plus, if you take – so now you did take the 3, right? You go into the first half, you've just taken the 3. If you take one of those 2-3 field goals, that last drive is to tie the game, or you go for 2 to win the game, not to be down by 3 just when you score that touchdown. So, to me, I think it was poor decision-making on 4th down all throughout the game, which from a guy who was – everybody gives the credit for having the cojones to do it, but that's again where you need to be able to. You're in the biggest game of the year. I understand you want to go with what got you there, but you got to be able to think outside the box, and I don't think he did.
I agree with you, and I'm with you 100%. He's got to learn. He's got to take this. He's got to, while he's standing on top of that hill, that 4th down hill, he's got to look down. He's got to learn the lessons it took to get up there. And
but I also don't want to say, and I don't mean. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I also don't want to see him change it up for the regular season. I think that game, the NFC Championship game, and the regular season, and what got you to that point are two totally different scenarios.
I agree.
And I'd like to see him.
He had to read the room. He didn't do it
like he does. Right? Exactly.
Yep. We're in lockstep there. I got to be honest with you, and I knew we kind of would be because we've both been following this Lions team. I feel like we've kind of been like we're Giant fans, but we have a soft spot for Detroit, and I think we both wanted to see them overcome San Fran, but we knew it was too big a hill to climb. They got some beasts over there. I mean, McCaffrey could be the best player in the league. You got what Purdy was able to do with his legs in the second half.
Right.
I mean, it was an all around good second half and comeback for them after a really slow and kind of nervousing start where it looked like they may be getting blown out of their own building. They find a way, come out at halftime. They made the adjustments that Dan Campbell didn't make and wouldn't make by the end of the game. They made the adjustments, and it is the best team probably in the NFC, honestly. So, I mean, you're going to see, I think, the best matchup of 2 teams in my opinion, with San Fran and the 49, or with, obviously, the 49, with San Fran and Kansas City. But, I just, feel bad for Detroit, but they got to learn.
Too. And let's not forget, too, I mean, there were a couple bad bounces that went San Fran's way. That's an interception, that 50-yard or whatever it was, Ayuk reception down to the 2 or 3 yard line. That's an interception, So, and it bounces off a guy's face mask, and he had the awareness to pick that ball up and make that catch, which was amazing. So, but they had some bounces go their way as well, which helped them big time and hurt Detroit. And they just never bounced back. Once the momentum shifted, that was it.
I'm with you there. Yeah, once the momentum shifted, it was all San Fran in the second half. And, yeah, that's all she wrote. So now we're on to the Super Bowl. Like I said, I think it's the best matchup we could have seen. Not the one we wanted to see, but the best one we could see. And with that comes my favorite betting time of year. And with that, I'm going to open it up, and I want to start with something that seems to be, I don't really hear anybody out there being annoyed by it. Like, I just want to know on your personal level, have you heard anybody actually complain about Taylor Swift other than just the shit you see online? Have you ever heard of anybody actually complain about seeing Taylor Swift on the screen, on the TV screen at all?
No, and I think it gives those people who have nothing to complain about something to complain about. So if it were to go away, what would they do with themselves? The guys who are the keyboard heroes who are on there, and every time like one of these sideshow websites posts up a picture, or like today I saw a side-by-side dance-off between Travis Kelce doing dances on the field and Taylor Swift doing some at home, and some of her concerts and whatever. I thought it was hilarious. But then you go through the comments, and there's always those guys. Who cares? I wish they would break up. Like, those people are miserable, so they wish misery on everybody else.
Well, that's just it. And I mean, anybody who, listen, if you're upset by her being there, like, then you have bigger problems in life, honestly. Like, who cares what they're doing? If they're happy in life, then let them be happy. Who cares? She's literally on screen for less than 30 seconds in an entire game. 3 hours, 3.5 hours. The amount of screen time she actually takes up. It's been broken down. I think Darren Ravel's on the numbers. I've heard a million other people do the numbers. I'm sure you've heard the numbers 25 times by now, too. But it's like about less than 30 seconds a game she's averaging on TV. I mean, come on. If you're complaining about 30 seconds in a 3.5 hour telecast, of which I heard a very interesting stat by Colin Cowherd, and I'm going to have to follow up on this, but he said in a 3.5 hour telecast of football, believe it or not, there's actually only 18 minutes of actual football being played, like gameplay.
Huh.
Like, the whole thing boils down to 18 minutes of actual gameplay. And that's pretty wild to think about, but if you think about it, you're like, it could be, like, I got to look into it a little more, but I just thought that was really interesting. But the amount of screen time she's taking up is less than 30 seconds. If that 30 seconds is killing your enjoyment of football, you sound like the same people who are upset and saying you're never going to watch football again because people were taking a knee. You know what I mean? It's the same group of people, in my opinion. And I'm not getting into politics here, but I'm just saying, like, you say you're never going to watch something, or you're never going to do something, or, oh, I hate that Taylor Swift's there. Why do you hate that she's there? Why can't you just enjoy the football game? Who cares? She's on TV for 3 seconds at a clip. Kelsey scores a touchdown. They show a clip of her. Great. She's in the booth. Woo! And then it's over. Like, how does that ruin your day? I don't get those people. Those people need to get a life, and it's just weird to me.
Well, dude, and as somebody who found the love of his life in his mid-30s, like, I'm happy to see a great love story like that. And nobody gets mad when they show the guy's mom or something like that when he scores a touchdown, So who cares? They found love. They're happy. Let them be happy. Be happy for them. And if you're a true football fan and her presence at the game is truly bringing more viewers to the game that you love, you should be happy about it.
Right? Well, speaking of being happy about it, it's going to lead me into, like I was telling you before, my favorite thing about the Super Bowl is the prop bets. Shy of the box pools that everybody gets into, it's prop bets. And
speaking of box pools, if you have one, let me know.
I will let you know. I might have one for you. All right, we'll talk after. So one of the interesting ones that I saw, one of the first prop bets I saw, was actually a Travis Kelce Taylor Swift prop bet. And it was, will Travis Kelce, and I want to know, if me and you were betting our own money here, say we had 100 fake dollars to bet. I want to know if you're putting any money down on this. Will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift after the Super Bowl? Plus 920, yes.
Okay.
No is 2,200, negative 22. So it's... You get obviously way better odds with yes than you do with no. Or, you're going to make more money that way, but the odds are it's probably not going to happen. I don't know. Would you put your money on? Because, I'll tell you what. Is that not a hell of a Super Bowl moment? If you win the Super Bowl,
It's a
retire
knockoff
and
of
propose to
Boise
Taylor
State.
Swift all at once. I mean, you
Come
pretty much,
on.
you ride off into the sunset on top. I don't know if anybody tops that.
If I got to put my $100 somewhere, I'll put my $100 on the no.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can't. I
Yeah.
I wish otherwise, but yeah, no. I got to be on no too. It's just the odds of it happening. It's too big a moment. There's too much other things going on, and
Look.
the NFL wouldn't want the spotlight stolen from them that much. And we all know the NFL cares about money. I mean, that's part of the reason that the logo conspiracy didn't come true this week is because the NFL cares so much about money. Because there's a whole other conspiracy out there how the NFL has now rigged it so that Kansas City would get in the Super Bowl. Because apparently, I don't know if you've seen the actual dollar figures on this, because they blew my mind when I actually saw it. This season, this whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs, do you know this? Have you heard this stat yet?
I have not yet, but I'm about to.
$331 million they've profited off of the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce relationship this season. The NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs combined. So, are you telling me that the NFL wouldn't want to see Taylor Swift in the like at least getting 10 seconds in the Super Bowl? Of course they will. Why? Because like I do, all the NFL cares about is money. And how do they get money? Is they have to get more viewers. Well, they already have a shit ton of viewers. They already have hundreds of millions of people around the world watching it. How do you get more people to watch it? You get the biggest pop star in the world who just grossed on her tour, the Era Tour, of more than 50 countries, GDPs. Like she made so much money that she actually made a difference in the amount of in like our own country's GDP. Like it's insane her level of influence. And for the NFL to be able to rake in those eyes, because now they're going to get every single girl, they're going to get every single child, they're going to get everybody, because every little girl out there is going to want to tune in just to see Taylor Swift on TV for 10 seconds. And those are girls that never would have paid attention to the Super Bowl before. They would have been off doing something else or playing somewhere else or not focusing on the game, or now going to be focused on the game. And you know what? That grows a whole new segment of fans for the NFL they didn't have before.
Well,
the NFL is just they don't know what to do with themselves. They are doing a happy dance. They are partying like there's no tomorrow with this relationship. It is unbelievable.
Well, and flip it. How much does a 30-second commercial cost in the Super Bowl this year? I haven't looked up the numbers yet, but
I'm going to say it's got to be 15, 16 million easy.
So if you're saying she gets on average a game maybe 30 seconds of film time, if she gets on 30 seconds of film time or FaceTime during a game, during the Super Bowl, she just saved herself 15, 16 million on a commercial just by being there. So I know you're looking it up, but like if you look at it from that perspective, she's getting a free 30-second commercial split into maybe 3 parts or 4 parts.
$7 million for a
30-second spot. So she's getting 30 seconds. She's saving herself $7 million on a commercial.
Oh yeah, but listen, the NFL is going to make $27 million though. That's what she doesn't realize. She'll save the $7 million. They're going to make $27 million.
Exactly. So if Travis Kelce has 10 catches and she gets 3 seconds a catch, boom, there's her 30-second commercial.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I thought it was going to be higher than that. I don't know why, but 2022 is only $6.5 million. So, but yeah, $7 million.
I went with the tens times table to show you how strong I am at math there.
Well, to keep it going in math here, because my favorite prop bet, my absolute favorite prop bet of the year. What?
I think I know where it's going.
The national anthem.
Yeah, every time. You're the guy I called to find out who's singing it and who has what's their over-under.
Oh, because it's my favorite one every year. I don't know why, but I got into it a bunch of years ago, and so this year it's Reba McEntire.
Because there's stats on it.
Oh, and I looked them up, so I got a bunch of stats for you too. According to FanDuel, too, a few of these stats. I'm pulling these odds from FanDuel. It opened at 84.5 seconds. It's now anywhere fluctuating between 86.5 and 90.5 seconds. The average is for anybody doing it, this is country, rock, whoever, the average is 115.4 seconds.
Wow.
The average country person, the average country singer since 1991, 112 and a half seconds.
Wow.
This is where it gets real interesting, though, is because now you're thinking, well, I got to take over of 90 because just the average alone would tell you to take the over. But here's where it gets interesting, because Reba, she sang the Star Spangled Banner at the 97 World Series. She did it in 83 seconds.
Wow.
So that was back. She was 42 years old. That was 97. So we're going to, so you got a little bit more, age on that voice. But still, she also has done it in 71 seconds, 78 seconds, and 80 seconds in 4 other appearances.
So she's always been under.
So she's been under, but the average has always been way over. So that's where, to me, it gets really interesting, because where do you see it falling? Because I know where I'm feeling. I know what I'm feeling, because I think it's going to be right. I'll tell you where I'm at. But I want to hear you first.
Well,
Over or under. So what's it? The question becomes, I'm going to set it right now. Say we're at 90 and a half seconds. So
90 and a half seconds.
Because it's fluctuating, and right now we'll say 90 and a half is the number.
Honestly, at this point, I can't go with the league average. I got to go with the team average. So I'm probably going under on that one. Also, I want, you think, oh, she's older, it might take longer. But to me, when you get older, those pipes can't hold those notes as long.
I don't think she's not known for big runs either. Like she's not a Christina Aguilera or one of those female voices that has those like long runs where you could see them holding a note for 6-7 seconds. I don't think she's going to be holding them that long. So I agree with you there.
But then are we going to have like a big drum spectacle? And does that factor into the whole national anthem thing? Like, are they going to start out with something before she starts going? You gotta know these things. It's hard to know.
But I think it's from the time she starts singing to the time she finishes singing.
Okay.
So that's
then
where
I got to go with the under.
All right. So you're going under. I would also go under, but what I think is interesting about where the number is fluctuating right now between 84 and a half and 90 and a half is I think it's going to fall within that window. I think that's where this line is going to be razor thin. Like, if you could get it at 90 and a half, I would go under. If you get it at 84 and a half, I actually think she may go 86, 87. I think
so
that
you're saying when it opened was your time to bet the over, basically. And now that it's moved, you should be on the under. That's where you're going.
Because at 42 years old when she did it in 97, 83 seconds, that was at that's the other biggest event I think she sung at.
Right.
So
you're not rushing these.
That's what I mean, is I don't think she's going to rush it. So I think it'll be a little bit longer than that 83, but I don't know if it's going to be a full 10 seconds longer than that 83.
Right.
So
and you're talking, you're talking World
saying?
Series, right? So you're putting on a show at the World Series. These other performances, I don't know what they were, but it could have just been like, hey, you paid me some money, I'm going to do this quick and get out of here type of deal.
Apparently, there are clips on YouTube that if you could go see some clips on YouTube, there's a clip of her in one doing 71, 78, but again, not as big a stage as the World Series or Super Bowl. Yep.
They're just small paid appearances where she's taking her money, she's singing the thing, and she's getting out of there. This is the Super Bowl. Everybody's watching. You're putting on a show, right? Plus, you're a little older. You want to show everybody you still got it. But I'm still thinking I'm going under the 90 and a half. Heck, I wouldn't, if you're going 90 and a half, I think 90. 90 is a good bet. If that line stays at 90 and a half, I'm taking the under. But if I could bet 89 to 90 and get a little more odds out of it, I might go there.
All right. That's what I mean, is I think it's going to be a razor thin margin there where I think she's going to be right in that window, which is why I find this year so interesting, because the odds guys are on it. They know. I think they're dialed into this one. And I to be honest, I've won the last few of these too. So you know me, this is the one that I pay the most attention to for, I have no idea really what reason. Now, Going back to our Taylor Swift, though, there is another prop bet I'm going to throw at you. Do they show Taylor Swift during the national anthem?
Oh.
Odds are for yes. Odds against are so it's minus 120 for yes, plus 110 for no. So you know,
I think I'm taking the yes. I'm thinking
a quick shot.
They pan out. They show the players.
Yep.
I think after they show Kelsey, they pan up. Boom, Taylor Swift, then back down to the players.
I was waiting for you to say no on that
yes.
one. I'm with you.
Singer. It's another singer admiring someone who's been good at the craft for a very long time.
So then going to that, so now building off of that, so we both said yes. So now building off of that, there's another prop bet off of that. The number of times Taylor Swift will be shown during the anthem, over or under 1.5?
Under.
See, I think if you show her once, why wouldn't you show her twice? Why wouldn't you show her at the beginning and then once at the end?
They're not going to beat it to death.
But a quick pan job?
I would even put it on that the last player you see during the national anthem is Travis Kelce, and then when it's over, that's when they go to her. One time.
Oh, so you think they tease it out? You think they make the audience wait? They don't give it to them right away. That they make you wait for the surprise. They make you wait for the tay-tay.
They wait. You gotta wait for the Swift.
You gotta wait for the Swift. So another one of my favorite prop bets of the year is one of the dopiest and easiest ones there is out there: the coin toss.
Right.
Ooh, who you going with? Heads or tails?
Tails, man. I go tails every time. You know?
Come on, not because of the tails never fails.
Nah, I just always call tails.
All right.
Because you can flip that to tails always fails. I call tails every time because, look, if you flip a coin, it's a 50-50 chance, right? So say you're going to flip a coin twice with somebody. They say heads or tails, you call tails. The next time that coin flips, you got to call tails. So I just do it every time.
All right. I'll tell you what, a gentlemanly bet of a beer. I'll take heads.
All right. Any excuse to have a beer with you, I'm good with, bro.
All right. Now, what about the Super Bowl halftime show, Usher? I don't know if you have any thoughts on Usher, but there's a prop bet that you might have thoughts on. All
right, let's hear it.
Prop bet. Most likely to come out on stage, Alicia Keys, minus 320. Ludacris, minus 210, and Lil Wayne is plus 550 as a long shot. Any of those you like? Plus or what about Taylor? There's also, I don't have the odds in front of me, but I believe there are also odds out there for Taylor to possibly show up during the halftime show. Any of those interest you?
Oh, man. That's a tough one, you know. I don't think they're putting Weezy on there yet. Iconic guy, you know. Probably the last great hip hop artist, in my opinion, to ever do it. But I don't think he's going. I'll bet Luda. Give me Luda.
Yeah.
And actually, parlay me Luda and Alicia Keys. Give me both.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that would probably pay out pretty well. You got minus 220, minus 210. That's going to pay out pretty well for you. If you can enter that somewhere in DraftKings, FanDuel, ESPN Bet, any of those, yeah, I think that those are interesting. And, yeah, I say do it. If you get a chance to throw it down, throw it down. My third favorite prop bet, which I, again, bet at least a couple dollars on every year, is the Gatorade color. Any thoughts on the Gatorade color?
Well, so now this is one where I haven't looked up the stats because we're not there yet, but I know there's stats on this because Kansas City has recently won the Super Bowl. So has it been consistent? But I got to figure you're not getting good odds on red. But I got to figure that's what I'd be betting is red.
I do have the stats somewhere on it. I'm trying to see if I can find them. But I actually think it may be clear.
Straight water?
Yeah. And that's plus 1,000 right now. And then no Gatorade bath is plus 4,000. I think there's a good chance either one of those could hit this year. And I would tell you why if I could find those odds again. So give me 2 seconds.
Well, while you do that, let me circle back to the championship game where I had a 10-leg parlay that I put $10 down on that would have paid out $235. While you look up those numbers, I just want to read out what it was. It hit 9 out of 10. Okay, this was a DraftKings does. They put up a bunch of guys will pre-build parlays, and I don't always take them, but this one had some good odds, and I actually really liked it. So let me read this off to you real quick. We had Patrick Mahomes alternate passing yards 225 plus, Travis Kelce receiving 50 plus, Lamar Jackson passing 175 plus, Zay Flowers 40 plus, Travis Kelce score a touchdown, Brock Purdy 225 plus passing yards, Ayuk 50 plus receiving yards, Goff 225 plus passing yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown 50 plus receiving yards. Those are the 9 that hit. The one that didn't was the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown, which was that last touchdown was thrown to, who was it, Reynolds or Williams? God, that one hurt, man. That one hurt. But what I do have, if you've looked up the numbers, I will digress.
I did.
Let
so
you
I got
go.
all the
and
stats
then I have
down.
one. I have one for the Super Bowl. If you know that is a pre-build on DraftKings. If anyone would like to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, I gotta find it. So let's go back to your Gatorade numbers.
All right,
real quick.
Gatorade numbers. So just going back to last year. Last year was purple, Andy Reid. Then we had 2 years of blue in a row. Sean McVay and Bruce Arians both got blue. Then it was Andy Reid again with orange. Then it was the New England Patriots with blue. Bill Belichick. Then yellow. And then actually none in Super Bowl 51, the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, none. I thought that was interesting. Orange, Denver Broncos back in Super Bowl 50. I could keep going back. I can give you the stats on. So the total number of times a color has been used. Orange has been used the most with 5 times. Then you have blue and clear coming in second at 4 times. Yellow at 3. Purple at 4. Yellow at 3. Purple at 3. And none at 4. So 4, none actually is tied up there with blue and clear. Which I didn't realize that there were 4 Super Bowls where there was no Gatorade poured on their head. I thought that was interesting. Because I always thought that was just something that was done. So to find out that there were 4 times and one was in like the last 10 years and I didn't even realize it, kind of made me go, huh.
So what was Reed? You said was purple?
Reed last year was purple.
Reed last year was purple. Is there the one from before?
Yeah, the previous one with the Chiefs was orange. So he's had purple and orange dumped on him so far.
Orange.
The last 5 in a row were purple, blue, blue, orange, blue, yellow, none, orange, blue, orange, none. Those are the last 10.
Be interested to know if any of them match the Super Bowl logo and who's providing the Gatorade. Are the teams providing the Gatorade? Is the league providing the Gatorade? Man, that's a tough one. But I'm going to stick.
Why don't they ever use red Gatorade, by the way?
Maybe it's too sticky.
Maybe.
You know, maybe it's too sweet. The fruit punch, a little too sweet for everybody. You know, you got to figure that stuff's watered down pretty. You know, you've seen the clip with Peyton Manning where the kids are on the sidelines making the Gatorades, right? So they water them down a lot. I don't know, man.
What color are you going with?
You got. Well, it honestly probably depends too.
I got to give you the odds, so let me give you the odds too.
What's so Gatorade trying to market this year?
Purple is the betting odd favorite right now at plus 200. Or they're plus 200. Then you have blue coming in at plus 250. Yellow, green / lime is plus 400. Orange is plus 375. Red / pink plus 700. Clear / water plus 1,800. And no Gatorade bath for plus 4,000.
You know, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to go with what I've been drinking, right? So when I was younger, I never liked orange Gatorade, but for some reason in my older years, I'm a big orange Gatorade guy. It's actually the only one I like because I feel like it's not as sweet as some of the other ones. Plus, you got like the blue or purple ones. They make your poop like goose turd green. So I don't drink those anymore. I'm not all about having green poop. Sorry to bring up poop on the show, but you know, it is what it is. So I've been going orange. I like the orange lately, so I'm going to bet the orange.
All right. I
Just
find it
as a
interesting to
personal-
have red pink on here when it doesn't seem like they've really been any red pink options lately. So that's why
Well,
I find that one
reason
is an odd inclusion.
the reason I'm leaning red is because we got 2 red teams in the Super Bowl. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to pick the color of the confetti this year.
Yeah. That's why. Would they just make it all easy? Just a whole red theme?
I don't know, man. Or maybe they go like purple because of the logos. They didn't get their purple team in there.
Then you're doubling up on the purple. They have been known to double up before, though. So this is why it's all so very interesting.
It is also very interesting. It's a tough one, man. I don't know.
I'm trying to look. They've gone back-to-back orange before. They've gone back-to-back blue.
I'm sticking orange.
I'm trying to see if they've gone.
I think there's a few older.
They've gone back-to-back. I think, or they had 4 years in a row of clear from Super Bowl 39 to 42.
I lean to orange to be more of an older guy kind of Gatorade. And I feel like there's a few veterans out there this year. I think that the guys are a little bit older this year. You know, it's not so young. So I'm going orange. I'm sticking with orange.
But that's why I think clear. But that's why I think clear could be a really like I'm not saying put all I'm not if we had $100 fake dollars, I'm not saying put the whole 100 on clear. But what I'm saying is say you wanted to put say 50 on orange. Maybe take 5 and put it on clear.
Maybe, you know, and they do have that I don't want to say it, but they have that white cloudy colored one, which I think you'll know what I'm getting at, what the color of it is. The white cloudy one.
Yeah, I think they're counting that in the clear water one, though. I think they're counting that.
Right, you're right.
That, yeah.
Right. So that, I mean, it could be there, you know, that's a pretty good Gatorade. It's just the color of it is a little off-putting to a straight male.
All right. I never, I'll be honest, didn't really drink it, but didn't really think of it that way either. So I'll have to check it out on the shelf next time I'm in the store. Yeah,
it does. It looks like chits,
right? Yeah.
Next time you pick up a bottle of it, you might think it might be salty. You know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry if I'm killing your die on the hill. You know.
No, listen. Hey, you're dying on the hill, man. You're dying on the orange hill right now. I'll tell you that. You are all in for the orange.
I'm going orange, all in.
All right. Well, listen. I'm going. I think I'm going to take 5 and maybe put it on that clear water. I don't know why, but I think that's the way I'm gonna look. Other than that, I don't hate your color choice, so I might throw a few on there too. But yeah. You. So what'd you have? You said you had one for the game. Let me hear it.
All right, so this is a pre-built by DraftKings. I kind of got 2 of them. Depends on where you want to go. This one is plus 1,900. It's a 5-legger. Okay, at plus 1,900, you got Patrick Mahomes. This is a pretty big Patrick Mahomes one here. Patrick Mahomes 250 plus pass yards. Patrick Mahomes 25 plus rush yards. Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 pass touchdowns. Plus Patrick Mahomes to score a touchdown. Plus the KC Chiefs over 20.5 points. That's plus 1,900. So you're putting all your eggs on the Patrick Mahomes basket there, and you're looking at 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown out of one of the biggest gamers in the league. I don't think he's a bad guy to bet on. I think at plus 1,900, it's not a bad bet. Throw 10 on that, you might be happy.
All right.
The other one's a pretty big one. It's going to take a second. Let me just, I'm scrolling through, got to find it again.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm looking at these other props here. All right, give me the other one. I got some more props for you.
The other one is plus 2,400, but it's 11 legs. So you got Patrick Mahomes, 225 plus pass yards. Brock Purdy, 200. You're looking for a shootout with this one. So you're looking for a high-scoring, fun football game. So start out Patrick Mahomes, 225 plus pass yards. Brock Purdy, 225 plus pass yards. Isaiah Pacheco, 60 plus rush yards. Christian McCaffrey, 100 plus rush and receiving yards combined. Travis Kelce, 60 plus receiving yards. Brandon Ayuk, 50 plus receiving yards. Deebo Samuel, 50 plus receiving yards. So right there, you're looking at San Fran to put up some yardage. Rashee Rice, 40 plus receiving yards. George Kittle, 25 plus receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey to score a TD and Travis Kelce to score a TD. That's an 11-leg parlay at plus 2,400.
All right. That is a lot to digest, but I got to be honest, if you hit it, that's a monster.
That's not bad, man. It's a tough one. I'm not saying it's, you don't put an 11-leg parlay because you think, you're definitely going to win it. But at plus 2,400, again, you throw $10 down, you might be happy.
All right. Well, what do you think it is? I got another one for you. Halftime odds. Going back to the halftime with Usher. First song. I'll give you the top 3. Plus 350 for Yeah. Plus 425 for My Way and plus 300 for OMG.
Go My Way.
My Way. All right. You get the best odds there.
That, or let me tell you, if I'm going, then I'm putting a parlay as Little John being the guest appearance.
All right. Like I said, Little John, he's actually one of the favorites. He's like I said, he's third on the list there. But and I did see the odds finally for Taylor Swift, plus 550. Plus 550 that she would show up during the halftime show.
Oh, I thought you said Little Wayne. You said Little John. No.
Oh, yeah, Little John. I'm sorry. Little John.
Oh, well, then I think I would change that. I think I might bet all 3.
Oh, yeah? Alicia Keys, Ludacris, and Little John? You dropping all 3?
Maybe I drop Luda. But if I'm going to bet to be the first song, just to get everybody fired up and going, then I'm betting Little John to be a guest appearance.
I kind of like your idea of all 3 because he might need a little help out there on stage. Another one here, real quick. Over under 8.5 songs.
Under.
I think under as well. I mean, I gotta be honest. I don't think I can name you more than 3 Usher songs.
He's got them. He's got them. But I just don't think that the NFL is having him do 9 songs.
No, I'm with you there.
9 R&B songs at the halftime show. I mean, how many did Dre and Snoop and Eminem rip through?
Right.
But I think it was still less than 9.
It's true. Yeah, no, I got to think it's less than 8.5. I'm going the under.
Yeah.
Under.
I'm going the under there too.
So, I mean, that's pretty much all the fun prop bets I had for you. Don't know if you got anything else for me. Otherwise,
no,
we're good, brother.
I think we're good. There's a couple more pre-builds on DraftKings you may want to look at that are a little less odds. I was just going with the high odds ones for you. After you hit 9 of a 10, you start looking at those big ones a little more, You know how it is.
Oh, yeah. That's why I figured that you were a good one to have on today to talk about this. The only thing we didn't get to talk about, but we'll save it for next week, is we'll touch on the, if it's still relevant, the, whatever. Nah, not even relevant. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right. Till next week, my friend. Thanks for joining me as always. I hope you had as much fun as I did. This was a little bit different of a show. I want to start having more different shows here as well. So I hope people can get used to that because I want to start having a lot more fun on this channel, talking things other than just sports and just football. But that's going to be coming soon after the Super Bowl. So I hope everybody likes, subscribes, follows us. We are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeart, YouTube even, with maybe a YouTube, video future, down the road. So, till then, follow us on Die on This Hill. And what do you got for me? You got something else?
Before we go, did you come up with a Die on This Hill question for the show?
You know what? We've gone through so many. I think I'm going to stick with the national anthem. I want to know, die on this hill, over or under, and I think we did it. So I think that's going to be my question of the week to the people. It's my favorite prop bet of the year, so I'm making it this week's die on the hill question. Got to do it. I'm setting the over under for die on this hill at 90.5, and both you and I have agreed to take the under there. But I will have that up on the podcast site as well, so you can vote. Feel free to chime in, send us a comment. Any and all feedback is welcomed. So, yeah, till next time, my friend. Good talking to you, and talk again soon.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.